Most men think Stoicism is about staying calm. They are wrong. Dangerously wrong. Stoicism is not about peace. It is not about being unbothered. It is not about the Instagram quotes on a black background. Stoicism is about one thing: building a man that cannot be broken. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in human history. While his children died, his generals betrayed him, and the weight of the world pressed down on him every single day. He did not practice Stoicism to feel better. He practiced it to remain standing when everything around him collapsed. Epictetus was born a slave. He owned nothing. He controlled nothing. He had no rights, no freedom, no future, and he became the most powerful mind of his generation. Not because his circumstances changed, because he understood something that free men never bothered to learn, that the only thing that can never be taken from you is the way you choose to respond to what happens to you. That is not a quote. That is armor. And this video is going to show you how to build it. Not theory. Not motivation. The actual tools the Stoics used to become unbreakable. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will change how you see everything. Most men spend their entire lives trying to control things they cannot control. The economy, other people's opinions, the outcome of their work, whether they get the recognition they deserve. And every time something outside their control goes wrong, they break. Not dramatically, slowly. The anger that builds when someone disrespects them. The anxiety that arrives when the plan falls apart. The resentment that accumulates when the work goes unrecognized. All of it, every single drop of suffering, comes from one source: expecting the world to behave the way you want it to. Epictetus called it the dichotomy of control. Some things are in your power. Your thoughts, your choices, your effort, your response. Everything else, everything is not in your power. And the man who treats things outside his control as if they should be inside his control will be broken by life. Every time, without exception. The Stoic does not try to control the world. He controls himself, and in doing so, becomes the one thing in his life that cannot be taken from him. Modern men avoid pain. They have been taught to. Every discomfort has a solution. Every negative emotion has a medication. Every hard conversation can be avoided. Every difficult situation can be escaped. And the man who has spent his life escaping difficulty is a man who has never been tested. And the man who has never been tested does not know what he is made of. The Stoics understood something that modern life has tried to erase. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the curriculum. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Not, what stands in the way should be removed. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle is the path, not a detour from it. Not something to be managed or medicated or avoided. The actual path. The man who understands this does not run from difficulty. He runs toward it, because he knows that on the other side of every hard thing is a version of himself that could not have existed without it. The Stoics practiced what they called Memento Mori. Remember that you will die, not as a morbid exercise, as the most clarifying thought a man can hold. Because the man who truly understands that he is going to die stops wasting time on things that do not matter. He stops caring about what people think. He stops postponing the work. He stops spending his energy on resentment, on comparison, on the small grievances that consume most men's lives. Because all of that, every single thing that felt urgent this morning, becomes irrelevant in the face of the one fact that cannot be argued with. You are going to die. Not someday. Specifically. On a specific day. At a specific moment. And everything you did not do before that moment will simply not have been done. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Not tomorrow. Right now. What would you do differently?" That question, held seriously, not just read and forgotten, is the most powerful motivator that exists. More powerful than any goal. More powerful than any vision board. More powerful than any morning routine. Because it is true. Still here? Good. Subscribe right now. Because what I am about to show you are the two final truths that the Stoics discovered, the ones that separate the men who read about Stoicism from the men who actually live it. Hit subscribe. Do not wait. Most men are slaves to their emotions. Not because they are weak. Because nobody taught them the difference between having an emotion and being ruled by one. The anger arrives. They act on it. The fear arrives. They avoid the thing. The desire arrives. They chase it. The emotion arrives. The man follows. Every time. Without question. Without pause. Without ever asking, is this emotion telling me something true? Or is it just an emotion? The Stoics made a distinction that changed everything between what happens to you and what you decide it means, between the event and your interpretation of the event. Viktor Frankl, not a Stoic but a man who lived Stoicism in the worst conditions imaginable, wrote, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." That space, that fraction of a second between what happens and what you do about it. That is where a man is built or destroyed. The Stoic trains that space. He does not react. He responds. And the difference between those two words is the difference between a man who is controlled by his life and a man who controls it. The Stoics believed one thing above everything else, that the only good is virtue, and the only evil is its absence. Not wealth, not fame, not power, not pleasure. Virtue, the quality of a man's character, the standard he holds when no one is watching, the decisions he makes when the easier choice is right there. This sounds simple. It is the hardest thing there is. Because virtue does not announce itself. It does not get recognized. It does not get rewarded in the short term. It simply is, or it is not. And the man who builds it builds something that cannot be taken. Not by failure, not by loss, not by what other people think of him, not by anything, because it lives inside him, and nothing outside him can touch what lives inside him. That is the Stoic promise. Not happiness, not success, not a life without pain, a man who cannot be broken. Marcus Aurelius had every reason to break. He did not. Epictetus had nothing. He became everything. Seneca faced death with the same calm he had lived with. These men were not special. They were trained. They had a system. And the system worked. Not because it made life easier, because it made them harder than life. That is what Stoicism actually is. Not a mood, not a quote, not an aesthetic, a forge. And the man who enters it does not come out the same. He comes out unbreakable. If this video gave you something, subscribe. This channel is for the men who are serious about building themselves from the ground up. New video every week. Hit the bell. Stay with us. Stay cold. Keep building.